This episode is brought to you by Izzy Dunn, who will soon become a princess bride of her own come September 17th when she marries the marvelous Tyler Medley. Izzy, we thank you.
Thank you so much, Izzy, and congratulations on your upcoming nuptials. We hope you enjoy this podcast as much as we do. Love you.
Love you, love you.
Who are you?
No one of consequence.
I must know.
Get used to disappointment.
Hey guys, it's the Large Margisanis podcast.
The podcast about two sweeties talking about their favorite movies from childhood and beyond. Join us as we begin Savage September.
Savage September. So, in September, I think as we spoke about last time.
If you listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone listened to it because we haven't really set up.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Anyway,
Whoops.
So,
Announcement.
We, in the month of September, we are reading 4 movies with everyone's favorite 80s, 90s kid, Fred Savage.
Fred! We love you, Fred!
So adorable, Fred Savage. We've always loved Fred Savage, probably number one, because he looked just like me, or I guess I look just like him because I'm younger than him, when I was a little gal. So I ever thought if I turned into a man spontaneously, I would look like Fred Savage does today, which I'm not that excited about.
Or when you have a child, it'll look like a little cute Fred Savage baby.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
So we thought we'd start with, I'm pretty sure, everyone's favorite film.
One of their favorite films.
Yeah. I mean, this one is always so well received. It is, drumroll please, sweetie.
The Princess Bride.
Didn't it sound like Jurassic Park?
I was like, you're wrong. That's wrong.
I tricked you.
Princess Bride is a great movie. We love it so much.
Should work out those lyrics.
Yeah, we'll work on that later. The thing is, Fred Savage isn't in this a ton, but we thought it would be the best one to start with because maybe not everybody is obsessed with Fred Savage as we are. I don't know why. Losers.
He's best.
But this is a good one to ease into it because just a great movie, a lot of people's favorites, and Fred Savage is pretty adorbs in it.
Yeah.
On the Fred Savage cuteness meter, where does he rank in The Princess Bride?
Damn.
1 to 10 is the meter, so.
He is like a solid 7 in this.
Oh, really?
He's pretty cute.
I'd say 10. I feel like
this
his
is the
youngest.
yeah,
Because I feel like
the
he might be
youngest.
of the movies that we're going to do. I believe this one he's the youngest in, and he's just so sweet.
I think he's really cute and vice versa, but maybe it's
that's true.
Acts
Like an adult.
Yeah, so this movie is from I'm going to look this up and I forget. It's either between 87 and 89. All the Fred Savage movies are 87 and 89. Yeah.
I'm going to guess 87. Don't quote us on that.
Rob Reiner classic, taken from a story by William
Goldman,
which Sweetie has read the book.
Mm-hmm. I've read several William Goldman books, and he's one of my favorite authors, and this book was pretty amazing. After I read it, as I was reading it, remember, I don't know if were you around me when I was reading it? I kept chuckling out loud, and you'd be like, "What's so funny?"
Maybe,
and then I'd reread a quote, which was basically the same quote as the movie, but William Goldman did the script for the movie, so that makes sense.
And I was just talking about this last night, how almost you never watch the movie and then read the book, because you're like, I already know what's going to happen, like there's no point in reading the book. But this is one where you actually did that, and it was both very enjoyable.
It was. There's some extra parts in the book that, sorry. Whoops, cat noises again. Someone just woke up from a nap. The book is great. Obviously, the movie is amazing. The book has some other parts in it that I thought were really great and that they obviously couldn't fit in the movie, including one part called The Zoo of Death, which is pretty great.
Well, let's go back and do our quick summary, and then we'll deep dive.
All right.
So, movie begins. Fred Savage is sick. It's the Christmas holidays. There's Christmas decorations everywhere. his mom's like, cheer up, your grandfather's going to come and read you a story. And he's like, my grandfather, who's played by Peter Falk of Columbo fame, he always pinches my cheeks, and he's like old and crusty, like, meh. So the grandfather comes, is like, I'm going to read you a story, no more video games, Fred Savage. Fred Savage is like, what? I hate books. Are there any sports in this book? And the grandfather was like, yeah, there's sports. It's called fencing. What's fencing? Anyway, sits down.
Does he say that?
No.
Oh.
Sits down.
Paraphrasing
heavily here. Sits down, starts reading the book. And as the book goes on, Fred Savage becomes more and more interested in it. Suddenly, he ends up loving the story. So, anyway, the main story is there's a lovely farm girl named Buttercup and her farm boy lover, Westley. They are in love, but then Wesley
doesn't have enough
money to propose.
So he goes away to find money, but presumably is killed by the Dread Pirate Roberts. Buttercup is very upset, and then we flash forward to, she said 5 years. 5 years.
So upset, she gets engaged to the king of this country, Prince Florin is the country. Yeah.
Prince Humperdinck is the man. He's a jackass. And she's very miserable and upset. One day she's out riding.
And little do you know that Prince Humperdinck, you don't want to divulge his part now?
Well, I guess we can.
Yeah. So Prince Humperdinck has schemed he wants to create war with the neighboring country of Gilder. So he plans someone to kidnap and murder the princess, but then blame it on Gilder. And then...
what a scandal.
Yeah, so he's a jerk from the very beginning. So this trio of delinquents kidnap her. What's the names?
Vizzini,
who's like this Sicilian, hot-headed, crazy guy who everyone knows his famous line is, inconceivable! Inigo Montoya, Spanish, good with the sword.
Wants to avenge his father.
And who Andre was named after, Fezzik, played by Andre the Giant.
My namesake, guys.
And when I was little, I always convinced Andre, or tried to convince her, that that's who she was named after.
Dad said that as a joke.
I can try to convince you too.
Well, it wasn't true, but sometimes I like to pretend that it was
true.
Yeah, because that's pretty cool. So they capture Buttercup and take her away. They kidnap her. She's in a ship. Somebody all of a sudden is following them. It's a man in black. He chases them up the cliffs of insanity. Inigo has a sword fight. He bests him. He bests Fezzik. He bests Vizzini with his wits. And then he finally gets to Buttercup. And look out, guys, because big reveal. It's Wesley.
Wesley was not killed by the Dread Pirate Robert.
He is the Dread Pirate Roberts. Because there is no Dread Pirate Roberts. It's just a guy that gets recycled.
Yeah.
Whenever he wants to retire, he picks a new one and then goes on. So he's reunited with Buttercup. They almost get away, but then stupid Prince Humperdinck chases them down. Buttercup doesn't want them to hurt Wesley, so she asks them to promise that they don't hurt him. Don't trust a promise by Prince Humperdinck, number one, I guess. He's the worst. So they take her away again, and they bring Wesley to the pit of despair, where they torture him. Prince Humperdinck just gets really mad. And
because Buttercup goes, I love Wesley, and I'm not going to marry you. And he's like, fine, good for you. Paraphrasing again.
Good for you and your father.
Good for you and your father. Let's make a deal. If he doesn't come back and try to save you, we're still going to get married. And she's like, fine, he is going to come save me. But that doesn't happen because Humperdinck decides to kill him with this horrible machine that sucks all the life out of you in the Dungeon of Despair.
Mm-hmm. Pit of Despair. Get it right or pay the price.
Dungeon, pit. What's the diff?
Same thing. This is a long summary, but hang in there. So Inigo and Fezzik reunite, and Inigo finds out that the six-fingered man who killed his father is in the castle, played by Christopher Guest. So he needs to avenge him, and he says, we need the man in black. They find him, he's dead, nuts. They bring him to Miracle Max, makes him alive. They go to the castle, they storm the castle, and...
Inigo meets a six-fingered man, probably best part of the whole movie, when he confronts him with the famous line, "I am Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." And he finally killed the six-fingered man. They tie Humperdinck to a chair, and then they all leave and ride into the sunset.
Well, Wesley finds Buttercup.
Yeah, finds Buttercup. He's not dead. They reunite.
Everything's good.
Everything's good. And then, and then the Fred Savage character realizes that literature is awesome. Grandfathers are awesome. And everybody wins. Merry Christmas.
Great
Happy New Year.
summary. Not our best, but listen, it's pretty early in the morning.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, we usually record later in the night when we've had a few drinks.
Yep. And we had to have a Bloody Mary at 9 a.m. to film this podcast, so...
But I'm still pretty sleepy, so I'll need a nap later.
Hey, it's Labor Day, too. Happy Labor Day, people.
Happy Labor Day.
Hope you're not laboring.
Oh, God.
Unless you're having a baby, then
that's okay.
I hope you're laboring.
That's okay.
So Andre, initial thoughts, memories of this film.
Well, as a young one, I loved this movie, but I think as I got older, I really came to love it because you appreciate, not really the jokes, because I would say for the most part you do get the jokes when you're little, but there's something in the writing that's so just so well written. Yeah, like tongue-in-cheek kind of humor. It's just so funny. A lot of it is kind of random. Like, they'll just say random things, and it's hilarious. But you really appreciate it more as you get older, I feel. I have several favorite lines. I don't know if we should list them now or later, but what do you think? What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I love this film. I think I loved it so much because our dad really loved it and was obsessed with that Inigo Montoya character and, like, loved it. And our dad passed away almost 10 years ago now, and watching this movie just makes me feel like closer to him somehow because he just loved it so much. And I love it too, and I think it's great, and I have always had a fine appreciation for it. I love all the acting. I love the storybook kind of scenes in it. Yeah, it's just a great story, and I think Rob Reiner does a amazing job, and all the casting was just so good. And like, I don't know if any of these people were super well known at this time, but I feel like, though, wasn't this movie like not as popular? Like when it first came out, it really grew.
It did. Yep, it definitely is one of those cult followings after
like
the fact.
Video rental kind of things. Yeah.
And people realized it was awesome. I think people just didn't really get it when it first came out because the writing is so kind of odd and random. It's kind of like Willy Wonka, actually, in that. It's just kind of like, it's funny because it's just the most random thing you could say in that moment. It's not what you would normally say. It's kind of anachronistic at some points.
Yeah.
But it's great. My favorite character is definitely Inigo. Yours too?
Yes.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
Why do we like all the same things?
For the same person, but not.
Want to hear some interesting facts?
Sure. Lay it on me.
So the Buttercup character, played by Robin Wright. She was not Robin Wright Penn yet. She was just Robin Wright. I think one of her really early roles. But I want to know a couple other people who auditioned or petitioned for that role.
Please.
Uma Thurman. They thought she was too exotic. Courtney Cox. Can't see that. Whoopi Goldberg? Huh.
What are you saying? Black people can't be Princess Buttercup?
I don't think she's the temperament for that role. That was pretty interesting. Someone who was approached to play Fezzik, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I read that. That's funny. I mean, he's big, so it makes sense.
I love the Andre Giant character. He's probably my second favorite. I read, like, a couple years ago all these drinking facts about Andre the Giant because he was so big and he was French. He was known for, like, drinking a ton.
Didn't I tell you this?
No, I was, like, reading up all these, like, random facts about, like, the most people I've ever drank. And Andre the Giant holds the record for the most beer in a short amount of time. So within 6 hours, how many beers do you think he was able to drink? Don't look at my notes.
6 hours?
Yeah.
60?
Oh, try 119.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I love him.
I read the Carrie Ells Is that how you say his last name? I always feel like I'm saying it wrong.
Elways?
Elways.
I think it's Elways.
Yules. Wells. Elways. I read his autobiography about the making of The Princess Bride called As You Wish. It's a terrific read. I highly recommend it. There's some really good Andre the Giant stories in that, including some of his drinking escapades. So that's where I definitely read that. Plus a lot of good, fun trivia that you won't just find in the IMDb section.
The IMDb trivia page. What?
I'm just really tired. I'm making up words in my head.
Sweeties.
Sweevia.
Sweevia? Is that a sweetener?
I guess.
Sweevia.
I guess so. But yeah. What else? What's your favorite part?
So I think I said earlier I love the part where he finally gets to the six-fingered man. I love that part where he's like, are you going to give me money? Like, he's about ready to kill him. He's like, you're going to give me anything I ask for, blah, blah, blah. And the Count, what's his name? Rubicon or something like that? Yeah. Let's call him Christopher Guest. Christopher Guest goes, anything you want, anything you want. Like, he's such a coward. That guy's such
It's a great
dick. So Inigo goes, I want my father back, you son of a bitch, and just stabs him in the heart. So good. And I will tell you, continuing the trend of parts that I fast forward when I was little, I always fast forwarded that scene at the end. I couldn't take it. It was too scary for me.
Oh my god.
I mean, I can't even do Game of Thrones violence.
That was always my favorite part.
That was like too violent for me.
My Sweetie's Scary Scene, which I'm a new segment I'm dubbing called Sweetie's Scary Scenes.
That you were scared of?
Yep. Mine was the Shrieking Eels part.
Oh, I was going to say the witch lady.
She was a little scary, but I think this part really freaked me out because I have a traumatic history with water creatures coming out of the water with like giant jaws, like Jaws. The Shrieking Eels were very scary. They still are kind of scary. Good effects. But when that one that like is charging her and that's like,
I didn't even remember that scene even when we were watching
scary.
it today. I was like, what?
Oh my god! In the book, they're sharks, so thank God that wasn't real in the movie.
Eels are even scarier.
I know they were pretty scary, but that part scared the crap out of me. And the old boo.
Yeah, that always scared me.
The hag, she's very scary. Well, you have like a discomfort with facial moles, so maybe
and
that
bad
was why.
Teeth.
And bad
furry,
teeth.
fuzzy, bad teeth.
Ooh, yeah, I'm telling you, hygiene back then not the greatest.
And I like the whole like starting with the cliff scene, and then when they do one of the chatty duelists. We learned that scene was called when Inigo and Westley like are fighting and they're talking the whole time. It's so clever. And then he meets Fezzik and he like basically like does a chokehold and he passes out. And then the very famous poisoning scene with the Wallace Shawn character, and it's like that scene is hilarious.
So good.
And has one of my favorite lines, which is, "You forget the classic blunder. Never get involved in a land war in Asia."
The most famous of which is never get involved in a land skirmish in Asia.
Yeah, so good.
Second only to. But yeah, that part is great.
Yeah.
My favorite line is during the chatty duelist scene where I have a few. Well, when Wesley's on the cliffs and Inigo keeps talking to him, and then Wesley's like, perhaps you could lower a rope or a tree bench or find something useful to do. And then when he finally gets to the top, and Inigo asks him right away, I don't mean to pry, but do you have 6 fingers on your right hand? And Wesley goes, do you always begin conversations like this? Amazing. The fire swamp also kind of scared me, because I think it gave me a fear of quicksand, which isn't really a real thing. Is quicksand a real thing?
I think so. Deserts?
Yeah, I
should
don't
Google
know.
that.
I don't think it. It's not quick. This is lightning sand, so it's technically even faster.
Well, I don't think that's real, but where did they go? Just
I know.
underground?
And how did he find her? Like
He just like swam
is it
around.
like a sea of
I know.
sand?
That part was really scary.
I'm not sure.
But so awesome when they like, and you're like, that's so smart. Like he got a tree branch and dove in.
Good thing that
That's
tree
just so
branch
smart.
extended like a rope would. I feel like most would just like fall off. But
No, he's
not
a really smart guy. He learned so much in his internship with the Dreaded Pirate Robert. I mean, that was really a career high for him.
Pretty great. And then the ROUSs, which I don't think I ever picked up on that was what they were called until I did some project in school and I was reading the script and I was like, oh, Rodents of Unusual Size. So that's pretty great. They are big, scary rats, which do you feel uncomfortable with the rats because you're afraid of rats?
No, I think they're ridiculous because there's like people inside of them. They don't even look like rats. They're like a combination of a rat and like a warthog. I don't know.
They look like rats. They look like Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Those weren't scary, but I hated that part where he touches onto his shoulder. Yeah. It just looks so painful.
It does look gross.
Ugh. And I kind of love the little albino guy. Like once he's in the pit of despair, and that guy's so funny. But like, what's like the deal with his mouth?
Crusty crust.
What are those, herpes?
I don't know. He's like old and it was back in the medieval times. You know, it's just got like gross mouth things. I don't know.
He's kind of cute though, but I love in the beginning where he's like, "You're in the pit of despair," but he usually has like a frog in his throat.
When his voice is
really normal and like low. All those little touches, and obviously the Miracle Mac scene I think kind of takes the cake in terms of like the greatest scene in this movie. Which
was a famous scene for many reasons, most of which, and I read about this in the As You Wish book, that scene made everybody crack up, and Rob Reiner couldn't even direct it because he was laughing so hard, so he had to like walk out, and someone else had to like sit in.
It said Mandy Patinkin, his only injury during this movie was he broke a rib from laughing so hard.
Because he was in the actual scene, but Rob Reiner couldn't even direct it because he was laughing so hard. And
Wait, was that? Did I read or hear right that it was like improv? It was mostly improv?
Yeah, probably. The mutton, the MLT, the mutton, lettuce, tomato, that was improv. Yeah. Most of it was. It's Billy Crystal. He's a genius. Billy Crystal so much. So, and Carol Kane, too, the wife. Another similar scene to the Never-Ending Story with the two battling old people where the man is mean to the wife. Wench. Calling her like a wench. And she's like, I'm your wife. So, pretty great. What else?
Let's see. What else I got in my trusty little notepad?
Stuff.
I asked you, this is like so random, but I was like, what kind of mustache does Wesley have? It's so weird. He's such a good-looking gent, but they made him have this like weird dirt lip 13-year-old mustache.
Did he have that when he was a farmer boy too?
I don't know. I don't
think so. But it must be a Dread Pirate Roberts thing. Maybe he'll shave it off at the end, or just wipe it off if it's just a little piece of dirt.
Should just wipe it off.
I'm not sure. But so I want to talk about something. Remember so I read this book, which is The Princess Bride, which is on the cover. It says it's abridged by William Goldman, originally written by S. Morgenstern. And remember we went to that bar and I was telling you the story of how like William Goldman came to write it or to abridge it, which I just found out was all a lie. I'm so disappointed. I had this whole... So the story is that William Goldman, when he was little, his grandfather used to read him The Princess Bride. And he loved the book so much. It was his favorite book. His grandfather would always read it. He was basically Fred Savage in the beginning. And when he was sick, his grandfather would read it to him. So when he was older, he bought a copy for his son, and he gave it to him. And then I think he was divorced from his wife at the time or something, so he kept asking, did he read the book, and she was like, I don't know, maybe you should talk to him. So he talks to his son, and his son's like, Dad, that book was boring as fuck. And he's like, what? How can it be boring? So he gets a copy of the book, and he starts reading it, and he realizes that this is not at all the book that his grandfather read to him. And he realizes that his grandfather cut out all the boring parts and don't get too excited because this is all a lie. And his grandfather cut out the boring parts and only read the good parts to him. So that was the story that he recreated into The Princess Bride that we all know and love today. However, it turns out that this was, I guess, just some kind of storytelling device or something, because none of it was true. William Goldman actually made up The Princess Bride as a story to read to his daughters. I'm not even sure if he has a son. But yeah, so he is actually the author.
How does that work
of the
with
Bride.
rights and stuff? If he did take the original story,
well, that's why that's why I've been eternally confused ever since I read that book.
You just take somebody's story and be like, I'm gonna take all the boring parts out,
right? So yeah, it's not true,
and peddle it as
but it's not
your
true.
own.
It's not true. It's all William Goldman. It's just a pseudonym, Morgenstern. He wrote another story called The Gondoliers or something, also by Morgenstern, which is a pseudonym or another pen name for him. So, anyways, I just feel a little cheated. I feel a little cheated because I feel like I may have told like 3 or 4 people that story, being like, "This is the truth." about The Princess Bride.
That's how stories get started.
No, I just feel embarrassed.
And they tell two friends.
And so on. And so on. Yeah, I just feel a little cheated. Anyways, I still love William Goldman. Really great. He also wrote Marathon Man. I think he wrote the script for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Whoa, damn.
Maybe I could be making that up. But he's a great guy. Good stories also about him in As You Wish. So, yeah. I do still recommend the book, though, because there are some really good parts.
Yeah, I do.
Like I said, the Zoo of Death is a whole part that's not in the movie. It's this crazy thing that Prince Humperdinck made Count Rogan, like, make for him, which is all these levels of really dangerous animals that you have to, like, get through. And Inigo and Fezzik, like, wind up there and have to get through it. That's a really good part. But, yeah, highly recommend. Good read.
There's also a good, if anyone listens to The Nerdist, a couple months ago, Rob Reiner was on it. He had like a new film sort of documentary about addiction or something that he did. So he was on The Nerdist and he was talking about it, but they talked a lot about Princess Bride. And I recommend that highly. Mm-hmm. It's from like a couple months ago.
Yep. A lot
so
of
good
stories in that.
Rob Reiner is awesome. Like I think I've loved almost everything like he's done. He's just he's just a good fella. I just feel like he's just a real nice guy and makes quality things. Mm-hmm. Quality arts, if you will. The art.
True that. Yeah, so really good movie. Yeah. It's our first Fred Savage. Other movies we have coming up in Fred Savage September. I think next week we'll do... Which one do you want to do next?
I guess let's do Vice Versa next week. Okay. I'm really into that one. Not a lot of people know that one.
We love it and no one else does.
But yeah, so you think the Savage level of this is high?
Oh, peak. I mean, it's just because he looks so little, so he's just so cute. I mean, the lowest he'll get on my meter is maybe an 8, to be honest. Like, he's pretty great.
What else are we measuring the savageness by? You know what I like about Fred Savage, and I remembered in this, he's like always, and that's why he works so well in the Vice Versa movie when he has to play an adult, a kid with an adult inside of him. That sounds creepy. You know what I mean? Anyway, he always has like an adultness about him, doesn't he? Like demeanor. Even in this, like he was just the way he was giving such lip to his grandfather was just funny. I love that about him.
It's true. He's a great actor. We love him so much. Fred, if you're listening,
we love you.
We love you so much. You're great. We miss you.
Yeah.
Even though you were in the grinder.
Yeah.
We appreciate
and
it.
you're going to have a new show, I think, coming out. He's filming a new show.
Really?
Yeah.
That he's in? He did a lot of writing for a while.
And
he's a writer. And
I mean, I follow him on Instagram now, so I occasionally get updates on Fred Savage's
Twitter, life. So I'm basically best friends.
Yeah. So you know what we feel about you, Fred.
We're friends. Yeah, so if you have not seen The Princess Bride, what are you doing with yourself?
That would be just...
I know some people.
Seriously, get out
Actually, the person we dedicated this episode to
the rock
may
you
not
live
have
under.
Seen it. I don't think Izzy's seen this. So.
Excuse me?
I'm not sure if she
Isadora Dunn.
Don't quote me on that. It might be truth. It might be truth.
That's it. You're not getting a wedding present now. Actually, maybe you're getting this as a wedding present.
I'm not even invited. You can't.
I can still send her a DVD of the...
Ooh, good one.
Do you watch DVDs now?
No, but this is on Netflix at the moment. It might not be on it forever, but I think we own it.
Check it out, guys.
I think Dad bought it in one of those $5 bins or something.
Great Sunday afternoon eating brunch kind of movie.
Or a Monday morning drinking Bloody Marys, being sleepy movie. Yeah. Yep. So that's the flick. Any other housekeeping notes of mention?
Nope, I don't think so. Just keep listening, guys. Keep rating. Again, rate us if you can on iTunes.
We need those ratings.
Stitcher.
Good or bad. Give us the ratings.
Whatever you want.
We can take it.
Yep.
Maybe. I might cry a little, but that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears.
Whatever that means. I know it's a band.
I think it's a band, yeah. Not sure. Yeah. Desmond, what do you think of the movie?
I liked it a whole bunch. So much, I'm going to watch it again right now.
And then eat your nose.
Yeah.
That's our cat
Good
talk.
times.
All right,
Special
kiddos.
combo by Desmond. All right. Thanks for listening to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast.
Bye.
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Stop saying that! Oh! Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die! Now! Offer me money. Yes. power to promise me that. All that I have and more. Please, offer me everything I ask for. Anything you want. I want my father back, you son of a